Hi, Bernhard.
Hello, Christiane.
Nice to see you, and thanks for your time. Can you tell me a bit about your farm?
Yes, we are here in Staffing, municipality of Dorfen, in the district of Erding. As I said, in the deepest province of Upper Bavaria. My wife and I are now the fourth generation to run the family farm. We keep 140 dairy cows on our farm and have been managing the farm organically since 2014, according to the guidelines of the Organic Farming Association.
How is the area structured?
There are about 50 hectares of grassland that we use in 5 sections, and the rest is arable land.
And how do you milk?
We milk with 2 milking robots and have been doing so since 2005.
You just said you have switched to organic. What is the composition of your rations?
We mainly feed grass, silage in winter. In summer, we have to feed fresh grass, of course. In future, we will also drive the lactating dairy cows out to pasture. But as I said, most of it is grass silage and hay as basic feed. And in winter, also about 20% of the fresh mass in maize silage.
When it comes to grass silage, where do you place particular emphasis?
Because we are an organic farm, we find it difficult to buy concentrated feed. Also because it is enormously expensive. Therefore, it is important that we produce high-quality grass silage that has good ingredients, so that the basic feed milk yield is correspondingly high.
And what parameters do you pay particular attention to?
On the one hand, the silage is always harvested when it is as early as possible, that is, at the optimal time as far as the weather permits. And the other thing is that we also try to introduce very little contamination into the silage because this inhibits feed intake and is also very unfavorable for animal health if the contamination is high. And that's why we have our own powerful mechanization so that we can use the ideal moment.
So you harvest your grass completely yourself. You're self-sufficient. What technique do you use for that?
We use 2 Tego forage wagons from Fendt for silage collection. And for hay and straw collection, we have a variable chamber Rotana round baler. We also make round silage bales with it on a small scale.
And when does that happen? When do you make round silage bales?
So for hay and straw collection, and sometimes we also make silage bales for some small areas. Because we feed a lot of grass in the summer and part of the area is too old in terms of growth, we also make round bales.
And what do you particularly like about the Rotana when you're making bales?
The Rotana has a 25-blade cutting unit. This is good for a round baler because you can cut short with it and compact the bales very tightly. And that is also very important for a successful fermentation.
But you bring in the largest proportion of grass silage with the forage wagon, right?
Yeah.
And what do you particularly like about the Tego?
The Tego loader trailers offer us excellent cutting quality and have a high loading volume with small dimensions and are still very light in terms of their empty weight. The tires are great. They have a very good chassis, so the pressure on the ground is also very low. On the road, they have very good handling, which is also very important for us because we often have to cover longer distances with our smaller structures. And the Tego offers many advantages for us.
I want to ask you about the quality of the cut again. How does it have a decisive influence on the forage quality?
The grass can be optimally compacted in the silo only when it's cut short. And only when it is well compacted does an optimal fermentation process begin. And then high-quality silage can then be produced.
You mentioned that your fields are really small, but what sort of size are we talking about here?
We have some permanent grassland that is only 1 hectare in size. A tractor-loader combination like this is very maneuverable, and it suits our region or our farm much better than a chopper chain. As I said, this is the province of Upper Bavaria where we live, and it is also very hilly in parts, so the favorable power-to-weight ratio that the Tego has is ideal, because you have to move less dead weight despite the high load volume.
So now you're ready for the new season, right? When does the season really start?
It still has to get a bit warmer, and if there is enough rainfall, then in a few weeks we will be ready to make the first cuts.
Well, great. I hope you have a lot of fun with that, and all the best for the green season. Thanks so much for taking the time to show me your farm.
You're welcome.